Hello, gamers! What's going on? It's your boy Answer Play Games here with another stream. I know it's been a good while. I took almost 2 weeks off because I just get 2 week break after streaming like for almost like 2 months straight on this channel. So, what I'm thinking of after this stream, take like a big hiatus. Portrait to Manifesto still comes out. I am gonna do one more. I think one to Dead to Fan Animation stream. I mean, one or two more. I have to Dead to Win Fan Animation stream for Manifesto that's come out. This is gonna be my last. I think we're to two more Dead series until after Man of the Stream first day come out, and then back to that game. So yeah, so same with this thing, they'll probably be no say for like 2 weeks. Because yep, I'm just I don't know. I'm getting point on this channel, especially after add to the title of Dead Twin, title 3 and title 4. Those titles like took everything out of me, like for real after to do those streams every day. And yeah. Also, I'm a little bit later because I was out doing puzzle stuff, so yeah. Um, but yeah, so this year I won't probably went back until probably like August 16th or maybe like August 20th. I think we'll likely August 20th. So August 20th, I'm gonna turn to a Dad to a fan basis stream. That stream did another stream I think on August 27th, and that's to be my last Deltarune to Deltarune fan animation stream until a manifesto comes out, and I get out of that. And once after that, I attack it back to Deltarune fan animations. So yeah. Also, the reason I uploaded that Gengar 3 of Death Stratosphere, yeah, because nobody's uploaded video on the Gengar 3 Death with I'm asking what to check on that because if we do get into these series. Alright, good, I'm live. Okay, good. So then let me see. Is there a Gengar 3 of Death 3 yet? There has to be. Come on, the game's been out for like over a month. And there isn't. See that screen. Part 2, this part 1, part 2. Okay, so the boys right here has 16 way, but this could part 2. I think I see uploads part 2 and part on his channel. I've been doing my ass if you're the King on Street Death. I tried this person doesn't have it. Did it quit? Because this person was uploading on videos on or the death at King on 1 and King on 2. I need to see this here because let me see. Has that been in 5 months, which sucks. Dang, yeah, so I'm probably going to put up plus part 2 and then record my dead making on 3 out Death Festival dance. Yeah. Anyways, let's get to us to two more Deltarune series, y'all. Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna just show some Deltarune series, see what series people have. I know one like really long ones. This one on is Targeting Garner, and that's like so stupid that I never got to it because Targeting. I mean, there's no Targeting. Targeting that snake dude that has been in our classroom, and it's a sports person. I don't think Targeting at that point. Of course, in the privacy that Targeting goes to build, and so Targeting is important to the privacy for some weird reason. It really hasn't done much, but I just think if I put up Targeting goes to build part in the privacy and tried to pull and as like a choke. So yeah, Targeting isn't that. I'll be surprised at Targeting because that big of a cut. I mean, because Targeting is connected to Noelle, because Targeting comments on her fan on her blog. Or see that on no, it's Patching Street Stakes. But because also Targeting not to both friends in school, but. I don't know. I don't think it goes easy. When that puts snakes, like how is that gonna make? How is Toad Fox gonna make a snake character important? Like I just don't see that happening. So yeah. Let's see. These people still like that with here, so I'm glad. Because if you don't know, Tula is currently moving, so he won't be able to another Dead with you until next month. So yeah. This one has a popular demo to it, but I don't have time to watch all that. It's 2 hours, so yeah. Let me see. Okay, no, I want to watch this one. This one says 2 minutes, and the person says, "How quick is during the night?" So it's like I stupid idea talking to him one, but I think it's playing a phone quiz is a absolutely cannot be denied because Chris and I cannot be at the same place at once. So I actually want to see why this person thinks Chris and I for so that's like impossible. Also, this one it's gonna be stupid, but I actually want to hear his reasoning because Chris can't be a night. It's supposed to be impossible because see Chris and the night at the same time. Like that just doesn't make any sense. I about finding Chris like cloned themselves. So yeah, I'm actually interested. See this, but it's 10 minutes, so it's just a quick one. So yeah, all right, let's get. I mean, yeah, true, but y'all can. Okay, there we go. Oh, can I? Oh, there we go, there we go, there we go. Fine, got fixed. No, that's not what I was trying to do. Tease. No, cancel. Saw freaking lag.
Too many parallels between Chris and the Roaring Knight. The Knight immediately, the first time we see them, is striking a very familiar pose. The one Chris hits when they reunite with their friend. During the
Could have, but no, because I 100% believe Kill was that. And I went back, I think to watch or watch Darko's full placement that we had to fall, and I still think Kill is not because why was he get mad for Susie having a guitar, man? It just doesn't make sense because if then I was dead, wouldn't Kill want Susie to find a code to help her find a daughter? So it's Des and I. This pussy saying Kirill is young as Susie forever find her daughter. It makes no sense. If I was a parent and my daughter was like lost and missing, and like somebody was like trying to help me find them, I wanted to yell at them for like trying to help me like find my lost child. That just doesn't make any sense. So I think because of that, the night has to be 100% Kirill, or else like it's hard to see real Kirill yells at Susie. Without a guitar makes like no sense. Because we said that Kirill yells at Susie by guitar because she doesn't want Susie to mess up her plans for finding Des. But then I know it's like why does the night attack us like y'all like seeing this part as in chapter 3 the end chapter 3 well, I actually have another theory, and I thought about this one, and when I thought about it, I was like, it probably is. I'm going back to probably Desmond or not. I'm saying, but it's a say about the punk guitar. Let me explain. You remember Flower, right? And Undertale. And Flower was Astral. And the reason why Flower was attacking us and like killing like all of her friends and stuff and Undertale is because just playing game with us because, lost Korra and just want to play a game with us. So that's what the night is doing, basically. I said the night, it says if the night is dead, I think they're playing a game with Chris, Susie, and Rousey. Also, it's funny that Rousey is last Astral, who was flying last game, and the night are literally in the same thing. So that's kind of made me think, is that literally doing the same thing that Flower slash Astral was doing in Undertale? I don't think so. Because that would make sense because Telefaster want to repeat that. I remember this is Chris's imagination. Are these Dark Wars or just Chris's imagination? I think. I was confirmed at the end of Chapter 1 will after they have sealed the Dark Fountain Chapter 1, they end up in the unused costume, which has confirmed that it was Chris using his imagination. So or their imagination. So I think that's what's going on here. I think that the night is playing a game with Chris, Susie, and Rousey, and I know at the end of the game, it's gonna be the same thing. like the same kind of feel with flower. It's probably could be like this holiday, you know how it said after last week I feel that roast about as real dreamer, and then a whole big part that happened with hopes and dreams. So yeah, I definitely do think, yeah. Also, the reason for who wanted to be playing games was because think about it, Noah's going to school every day, so she doesn't have my time to play her sister because Noah's going to school every single day, Monday to Friday. So let me tell the only days that she really has time to play for sister is Saturday, possibly Sunday too, if there was Sunday that Noah does go to church, so that could just be for like a few hours. So yeah, but that's like only like 2 days a week that's how time to play her sister anymore at this point. So maybe that's just got like too much for her. And because guys so sad that her sister like wasn't having my time to play for anymore, that she ran away, and because I'm upset that it came tonight because he had nobody to play with. But now she can play with us, Chris, Susie, and Rousey, and Chris and because again, like I said, the reason Ashley was doing everything he did as Flowery and Untold because Kara ran away, and I think Kara died actually. Yeah, Kara died, so and he had nobody else to play with, so he played with us basically. So I think I'm still because of that I'm switching my guess from the night being killed to the night being death. Let's see how that pays off.
Mirror Chris's, especially obvious with their point. Both characters are extremely agile and nimble. Both use a sword. Both have a more condensed way of dodging projectiles, and both are, of course, knights. But the most interesting parallel to me comes at the end of the Shadow Mantle minigame. Hero Sword Chris, who is confirmed to be a separate entity from the Chris we know, slashes Susie and Ralse. Tenna, who tells them he did everything they wanted, is killed next, right before Hero Sword Chris moves to the right, out of the dark, into the light world, and down into the shelter. These actions are exactly the ones the knight takes.
No. Wait, no. Oh, dear gosh. Oh, my mind just totally got... Oh. That just blew my freaking mind. I'm sorry. I can't play that because that just blew my... Okay, I'm going to play that one more time. I'm sorry. I have to go back. I'm sorry. That blew my mind.
Game. Hero Sword Chris, who is confirmed to be a separate entity from Chris we know, slashes Susie and Ralse. Tenna, who tells them he did everything they wanted, is killed next, right before Hero Sword Chris moves to the right, out of the dark, into the light world, and down into the shelter. These actions are exactly the ones the knight takes only a little while after. Now, if Hero Sword Chris is an alternate version of Chris, perhaps that tells us more than we think about the character whose actions they're paralleling. Perhaps we were wrong all along, and the Roaring Knight was never the Chris we control, but a different Chris. One who failed to save their world.
Okay, I'm not interested now. I'm intrigued.
What you receive from Hero Sword Chris's prophetic enactment is the Shadow Mantle, an item which makes it far easier to survive against the Knight, which means you can get the chapter's Shadow Crystal. These items are directly tied to the Knight, but also closely connected to Gaster. The two characters' connections don't stop there. Looking at their hands, there's a clear design crossover with the holes in their palms. It's interesting then that when Chris holds the Shadow Crystal in the light world, when it becomes glass, they're able to look into it and see through their hand. They appear to see Noelle pressed close against them, whispering. If they are followed by Susie, they see her looking at them coldly, when in reality, she's smiling. In a book in the Church Dark World, we read this. So wept the fallen star, making rivers with its tears, and from the bitter water something grew. It looked like glass. One of the first things we see the Roaring Knight do is weep, drawing an immediate connection to this line. If the Knight is indeed this fallen Chris, and the Shadow Crystals are a product of theirs, then what if Chris is getting a glimpse of the Knight's timeline, of what they could have gone through? This also lines up with the current theory that the girl in the prophecy refers to Noelle, since she could have been in this alternate Chris's party instead of Susie, meaning the two would have never become best friends. Susie plays an extremely important role in the Deltarune we know.
Yes,
She's
she
also the only
does.
reason the party is able to get 2 of the 4 existing shadow crystals. Gerson describes her as being the dragon from the stories inspired by the prophecy, a character important to the story but not a member of the hero's party. This makes sense since, as a party member, she actively rejects the player's control and
Hmm.
often steers the story in unexpected directions. Her presence appears to be crucial in subverting both the roaring and potentially whatever terrifying alternative the end of the prophecy might provide, as shown by the fact that the party is only able to down the Titan thanks to her and Gerson's combined efforts. The Knight's
That's
motivations of
true.
summoning said Titan are vague at best. If all they wanted was to start the roaring, they could have done so 10 times over by now. Which leads me to believe that this was more of a test, an attempt to gauge the strength of our heroes, to see if this timeline where Susie has joined the main party could turn out differently. This could also explain Gerson's mysterious presence, as Knight could be aware of his strength and want him present as a backup if the main party's
Hmm.
efforts aren't enough. But whether all of this is true or not, the Knight's intentions are still confusing, and compounded by the fact that they themselves look very similar to the Titans that appear in Ralsei's version of the prophet.
Yeah, it does.
When we summon the Titan we see in Chapter 4, it first appears like a human head shrouded in shadow. Humanity, on top of being directly tied to the roaring. Perhaps the Roaring Knight is a title which holds a different meaning than we thought it did. Perhaps it means less a knight trying to cause the roaring, and more a knight distorted and warped by the roaring. Someone who was once human. With the holes in their hands and the heavy breathing that plays when they enter, maybe Gaster was able to use this Chris's determination to save their life while twisting them into something darker.
Maybe.
Something he would know how to do all too well if Undertale's true lab is any
Oh,
indication.
I was gonna miss out that
Taking
I'm a
this
gang,
angle of a
gang,
warped
okay,
Chris
I'm
could also
saying.
explain the rest of the knight's appearance. The antlers could be a manifestation of their guilt, a distorted version of the horns they would wear as a child,
Oh yeah, the
twisted
red
to appear similar
hairband.
to those of the person whose disappearance they blame themselves for. But of course, this missing person is the most popular theory for the actual identity of the knight: December holiday.
Yep.
To be clear, I really do understand all the evidence supporting this and followed this train of thought literally a week ago. I think in regards to character, she would be the most likely, but I don't believe she would be in regards to context.
Huh?
The whole theme of Dessa's story so far is centered around a need to find her. The Roaring
Yeah.
Knight has no need to be found, and I wouldn't describe them as a lost girl in any traditional sense. Only if lost is referring to a loss of self, but with such an emphasis on Dessa's disappearance, I can't fully buy into that. There's also the voice in the code. If we assume this voice is Des, then these lines would need to be non-linear if she is to be the knight. And how could they be non-linear when Spamton picks up her communication in real time? Well then, what about the other 2 holiday contenders, Carol and Rudy? I feel like they fit more in context but less in character. Looking at the knight's actions and movements, they're kind of cocky, juvenile, constantly taking opportunities to look cool for no benefit or purpose, like goading on Susie as she chases them up the stairs by striking the same pose she would. Carol is extremely matter-of-fact and efficient. Rudy is deeply ill. I really don't think either of them would be wasting time like this. These actions fit what little we know about Dessa's character, but again, her context doesn't quite line up.
I think it
The
does.
2 primary pieces of evidence people point to support a holiday identity are the antlers, which I don't believe to be literal, as they're a part of the helmet portion of a very amorphous design, and of course, the weapon. For a brief moment, when it first manifests out the
bat.
knight's palm, it takes on the shape of a baseball
Yep.
bat, imagery directly tied to December. Through the rest of the battle, it appears similar to a katana, which Carol has hanging in her kitchen. I could see an intent of bringing this imagery to mind, but I don't believe it's meant to be either a bat or a katana. Let's not forget the song playing during this fight is called Black Knife, and as the prophecy says, the knight which makes with blackened knife. The knight also drops the black shard, a weapon
Chris does have
which
a
Chris
knife,
can use as
but
a sword. As such, I believe that the knight's weapon is meant to be a cross between a sword and a knife. There's a weapon known as the shashka. It is a curved blade with no guard and a swept hilt, which appears similar to the Knight's Blade in
Mhm.
many instances, especially in its idol sprite. Designed to be a cutter, it's a blade meant for quick and efficient slicing. The word shashka comes from this Adige word, which translates in English to long knife. I'm not saying this is the exact inspiration for the Knight's Blade. I don't think it is. The point is that we need to broaden our horizons and take into consideration options other than the ones that we jump to first. And I guess that's the point of this whole theory, really. Do I really think alternate Chris will actually be the Roaring Knight?
No.
Chances are slim. But I'd argue they're
Yeah.
about as
I think
slim
it's more
as
like
Des
the
or
Des.
Carol being the Knight. There's so little we know
Carol.
about this story and where it will go, so let's not so aggressively assign ourselves to one school of thought. Let's allow theorizing to be what it's meant to be, pure speculative fun, and an opportunity to view a story we love through a perspective we never would have viewed it before. If that's the vibe you're down for, and if you made it to the end of this video, I'm sure you are, subscribe and stick around. Like the video if you feel so inclined, and look forward to coming theories that are just as wild. One featuring Des and our old friend, the Vessel.
I think it's on
But as for
Rousey.
alternate Chris, I'll leave you with one last image. After downing Tenna, the Roaring Knight prepares to encounter the people they once knew well. In preparation, they strike the pose most familiar to them, the one they'd strike when preparing to join their friends on another adventure. But slowly, the realization dawns on them. These aren't their friends. They are alone and trapped in a present that forces their hand to fight for a future they'll never attain. And in this brief, flickering moment of clarity, they fall out of the past and begin to weep. Thanks for watching.
You think I got sad. Yeah, that was a good thing, but no, I still think Des is the Roaring Knight of Carol, so yeah, but I was more likely to think Des because of Flowery and I'm gonna tell. Alright, the first one I'm gonna quickly get home to the second one, which I want to be like another 10-minute one. Let me see. I get all that hour long feels, man. So I don't want. Okay. I almost want. Okay, so this is one more quick 3 or 4 minutes, and it's about. I think no, I know. I don't want to know one on the night. Got something happening on the night, and I want one about something else. Mythical connection. Yeah, because I was gonna mention Wasted Back because Here by Here released his a new video on where he analyzed Wasted Back Bat, both first with Grid Sungit and well see change the lyrics. I already saw it, so that's why I went through the stream. But and his video was good. He was through the lyrics as well, all of it, and yeah. So and of course, Ted Fox music that's what makes it sound like kind of like more on tell songs with that one songs because of freaking Material Music Publishing. Like, ugh, so freaking annoying. Anyways, and I think I have to how I saw sound if and if I want on tell song, it sound is gonna instantly get hanging out, which will suck. So yeah.
Hey guys, Clover here, and welcome back to the channel. Before I get into the theory, there's a few things I want to go over. First of all, thank you for all the support recently. We're almost at 700 subscribers, and I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the summer holiday. So if you could subscribe, that would be amazing. Secondly, just want to say that this theory I came up with ages ago and just haven't got around to. But recently I saw that Shay actually tweeted something similar to this theory. I want to say this, I didn't steal it from Shay, but we just end up having similar ideas at similar times. And the final thing I want to say is that I released a pilot for my Delta Blight series, or ARG, a week ago now. And it's done pretty well. It's at 1,100 views. But not that many people, I think only 13, have actually found the second part of this start of the ARG. So I just wanted to send people back there. I recommend people have a tour of a hard look.
Not next stream, but
mainly because I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that a lot of the theories haven't noticed about this so far. Also, I am not going to be making any form of Reddit for this because I don't really have the time to go over that. But if you do want to make a Reddit, I do believe r/Delta Blight is currently available. Finally, before I get onto the theory, I just want to bring up the fact that after this theory comes out, I'm going to be going on holiday, meaning that episode 2 of Delta Blight will be a bit longer. And also, the theory that's coming out next week will be pre-recorded, meaning that if anything comes out after this theory comes out, it won't be in the next theory. Anyway, without further ado, into the theory.
This has come out with me.
Okay, I've been trying to figure out how to start this video for a while.
They came out today.
As every
Never mind.
To think of what point to start on. To start, because this theory is very circular with the evidence. So I've decided I'm just gonna start with the way I started thinking about this theory and the way I came up for it. But first, for a bit of context to this theory, in Deltarune, obviously there's a lot of music that happens in the Dark World, whether it be through fights or just in the background of areas, and it's one of the most famous parts about Deltarune. Also, in Chapter 4, you play the piano to solve puzzles. Now, that's literally all the context you need for this theory. What I want to specifically talk about is when you have to play the big piano to solve the puzzle that Susie writes down, and where you let Chris play themselves.
Yeah,
well, that has obviously been talked about to death through theories. I think the bit after has been talked about less, which is where you are able to play a game on the piano, but yourself. And there's multiple different songs you can play, and depending on what you play, Rouse and Susie will react differently. First of all, if you just play Megalovania, this is the most famous one. Toby Fox will just run you over. Obviously, a joke.
Sick of that song. I am too.
A very important one to this theory. But what gets interesting is the fact that if you play certain songs that appear in the game, like Rose Card Song, or the song that plays with Prophecy, or other songs like the Undyne's theme, you will get a different response from Susie and Rousey, relating back to where you hear them in game. For example, if they play Prophecy, Susie will mention the fact that it sounds like we're serenading Rousey. If we play the Rules Card theme, Susie will comment on the fact that it sounds like the theme to us kicking if you play the Rules Card theme, Susie and Rousey will comment on the fact it's the theme from Rousey.
Rules Card.
If you play Rules Card's theme, then Susie and Rousey will comment on the fact that it's the song that plays during Rules battles.
There we go.
And also, if you play the Undyne theme, which can be hard within Garson's song, then Susie will comment on the fact that she thinks that Undyne would like this. Now, these are very interesting, as they do heavily imply the fact that in some way, the characters in the game can actually hear what songs are being played. This is interesting, as most games and shows use what's known as non-diegetic sound. Non-diegetic sound is basically sound that only we can hear, and that's only meant to add value to us. But what this implies is the fact that all the music within Deltarune is actually diegetic sound, or at the very least, all the music within the Dark Worlds. As some songs that you play that are from Light World don't really have reaction. What makes this interesting is the fact that when you then go to the second Dark World in Chapter 4, the music that plays in the background is very similar to that of the first Dark World, except for it's slightly off. Like it's an imperfect replica of it. Which makes sense, as Susie's Dark World, in most aspects, is imperfect compared to the first one. And it's things that she remembers being in the Dark World, but she doesn't remember them perfectly, meaning they become twisted in some way. It means the music has been affected by her memory of it, meaning that she has to remember the music in order for the music to appear in the Dark World. Okay, next everyone to go with this, now that I've explained the whole premise behind this theory, is the fact that when you're in Chapter 3, obviously you have the music section, and in the music section, you have to sing a song which Rousey changes.
Oh yeah, wait till you're back.
reading this lyrics of the original song, it talked a lot about bats and like baseball and stuff like
Mhm.
that, which is heavily connected to Des, who uses a wiffle bat and is connected to baseballs a lot throughout the chapters. And the fact that we know in chapter 4, through Des's bedroom, that she had her own band and she would play music a lot with having a bunch of different instruments, it could imply the fact that if the songs from the Dark World, as I mentioned with Susie, are things that the party who made the Dark World remember, and songs that they remember put into the background of the Dark World, it would then mean that the music that we sing in the rhythm sections are actually songs that someone who made the Dark World should have heard and remembered. Chris made Chapter 3's Dark World,
Mhm.
but that would make sense, as it would make sense for Chris to have listened to Des's music due to the fact they seem to have some kind of history with the band posters. As they mention when you look at them, the fact that some of these may have never happened, meaning that they may have seen some of them, but they know which ones didn't happen. The fact that a song created by Des is now in the Dark World, in the background of it, is very interesting, especially as it is very important, as it's a rhythm game you have to do yourself, rather than most of the time where it's just in the background to add stuff to the scene. This time, the music is the scene. The reason I bring this all up is the fact that it shows obviously that the music that plays has to have some meaningful connection to the past who made the Dark World. Obviously, this Dark World is very heavily based on the family, the Dreamer family splitting up, which was caused by Des's
Mhm.
disappearance. So if the thing that caused the family split up was Des's disappearance, the chapter based around the family splitting up, it would make sense for a song in that to be from Des and be about Des, as Chris, if they made the Dark Fountain in such a way where their will reflected their want for their family to get together, obviously they would remember Des a lot more, making her own song appear within the Dark World. Now, what I'm trying to get at by all of this, and what I'm trying to lead this to, is the idea
What?
that I think all of the songs we hear throughout Deltarune are created by either Des, Azrael, or Chris. We know that Des and Chris are both quite good at music, with Chris playing piano and Des having a band.
So you mean
Um,
every single song on the Deltarune soundtrack? I could just go on. I said I can't. But I no, I can't just go on the Deltarune freaking entire soundtrack right now. Give me a minute. So you mean to because this is seem like another stupid silly. What am I? That's about stupid series. This thing. Dang it. So you mean to tell me? Hold on. So can I get the freaking Deltarune soundtrack loaded up here? Sorry. So you mean to tell me they're saying that that's made another hymn beginning. Well, probably not him. Beginning, school, Susie, the door, Cliffs, the taste. I don't think so. Even though the Susie songs still make sense, like Susie, let's see, Pussy Susie, and yeah, Title One. But Susie didn't make all these songs. Why is there a song called First Lancer? Like, so you mean that just makes no sense. I mean, wait. If I'm set, because remember I was saying about, Title One being Chris' assassination, Chris basically made up Lancer then. And maybe Chris was really part of the band and had this character called Lancer, maybe. Dang, but then that means he made up every single song in chapter 2. But I just want to hear his reasoning.
assume that Azrael would also have been good at music, as to have a band you need more than one member, and Azrael and Des have seemed to be quite close from what we know. Also, obviously, Noelle can sing quite well, so all four of them do seem to have a lot of musical history, so it would make sense for them to have made a lot of songs, and for those songs to then end up in the background of each Dark World. It's also important to note that we can actually probably figure out the fact that most songs would have been made by Des. We know for a fact that Chapter 4's Dark World was made by Des or the Night. At this point, I think it's more likely that this is Night, especially with this music theory in mind, as if the music was created by Des and Chris, then someone who need to be really familiar with that music had to make the Dark Fountains, which would most likely be Des or Chris, which is what we see in chapter 3 and 4. But in chapter 2, we can also figure out that Des is the person to make a Dark Fountain there, as in chapter 4, there is a closet that says a large man can fit in here,
Oh yeah.
and you refuse to open the door. That implies the fact that Chris knows the Knight's in there. This is not the first time we've seen this line of dialogue, though. As in chapter 2,
Yeah.
if you try to open the door in the computer lab, it will say the same thing, implying the fact that that's also the place where the Knight was staying. Meaning that we know for a fact that chapter 2's fountain was made by the Knight, or by Des.
See?
To stretch this
Makes
out a
sense.
little bit more, this is a bit of a bigger stretch. We know that both times it's described as a doorway to a closet.
Mm-hmm.
And the only other closet we know about is obviously the main Dark Fountains closet. Which is interesting, because the first Dark World we go to that isn't that one, which has, like, you know, the Feels and Happen Dreams, on that classroom is said to have a door that leads from the classroom to the closet, meaning that every single time the Knight makes Dark Fountain, it's in a room that has a door leading to a closet for the Knight to hide in. Obviously, that last one's a bit more of a stretch, but I still think it's interesting to point out. Well, it's very interesting to figure out the fact that all the music we hear, number one, can be heard by the characters in-game, and number two, were created by either Chris or Des, or maybe Adrian and Noel. But what I think is even more interesting is by using this theory, we can figure out certain songs that haven't appeared yet that will appear in chapter 5. The reason I think this is because when you are in Noel's house and you're walking around the soul, if you go over to Chris and have Chris lock you back up again, once you go back to Chris, the vent will be sealed. But if you wait for long enough, then Chris will start playing on the piano. This is just even more evidence towards the idea that the music we hear was created by Chris and Des, due to the fact they play multiple songs, like Rules Card and The Prophecy, on the piano. There is one song that Chris plays that's interesting. This song is called 7-4, and it's a song that we don't hear anywhere else in the game, unlike the rest of the songs, which are just remixes of songs we've already heard before. The reason I find this interesting is because I think this means that 7-4 is a hint towards a song that's going to be playing in chapter 5.
Maybe.
This would make sense as chapter 4 has a lot of hints towards what happens in chapter 5, due to the fact that chapter 4 was supposed to come out with chapter 5.
It sounds
Now,
really good.
originally that's where this series was going to end, because I was like, there isn't much more I can say about this. But after a little bit of thought while listening to it, I noticed that Chris plays the piano quite naturally, because it's actually a recording of Toby Fox himself playing. But interestingly, a couple of times you will notice that one or two notes get misplayed, which first of all just adds to the naturalism of the scene. And I've seen a few explanations of it either just being there to make it seem more natural, or that it is to do with the fact that Toby Fox said he injured his wrist a while back. But based on the fact that when I was listening to it, it felt like it was always the same notes in each song that was getting missed, on the same notes, but the same like area of notes, meaning that it was the same hand. And also, there's another song that I purposely left out called The Last Prophecy, which is a remix of the prophecy song we usually hear, but made in a lower octave, meaning it sounds almost sadder. Also, we don't get to learn about the Last Prophecy until the end of chapter 4, so this is obviously foreshadowing for that. And the fact that one of the hands is mispressing the notes, and we get the Last Prophecy as the final song, could imply that it's foreshadowing, or more foreshadowing, to the fact that Chris might lose their hand. And that's something we have a lot of hints about through Chris.
No, why don't you even talk about it? Going off the rails. Why even talk about
falling through Chris's hands? the dart being stuck into Chris's hands.
What the heck
And
are
now
you talking
this,
about?
it could imply the fact that the last prophecy, or whatever has to happen to the last prophecy, will cause Chris to lose one of their hands.
What the?
But
No, you're just talking stupid. I'm sorry. I kind of funny a little bit when you said that Chris was making the songs, so Des was making the songs. I find you there. But what the freak are you talking about? Chris losing their hands? I think I said that he caused his wrist. So, but that part, you're going to tell your boss quits. No. Oh, what? So basically, the reason he thinks that Chris could lose a hand is because one of the notes game is placed because the fuck said he hurt his wrist. What the freak does Tony Fox hurt his wrist have to do with the game? Tony Fox's injuries in real life doesn't have to do with the game. Also, that was the piano was made electronically. I was really thinking you say weird piano to make this song. I'm so I'm so sorry. I'm 100% debugging this series. Like, this is such a stupid series. Maybe two ways to ask her somehow. When Chris didn't do to bring in my film, we just see Chris has to do. That's the bathroom. That's force. Yeah, I don't know about that. And he applied to it. I'm sorry, but I don't think this, so I'm sorry. This. Oh, no, Chris is going to lose their hand. That wasn't the last year prophecy. That wasn't. Oh my gosh, man, this series made my head hurt. I still watched the freaking other one, the freaking night, man. No, Chris is going to lose their hand. I'm sorry. Yeah, that can happen.
that is just the theory. I hope you enjoyed.
Is that it? Yeah. Well, since it's my time, I did leave the part with Des coming on these songs, but I put Chris listens to him because if I say he hurt his wrist. Again, come on, one more time. Tony Fox is real life injuries. Don't the fuck the game he's making. What? I mean, I know you could be saying, oh, maybe he puts in as a reference to him hurting his wrist in real life. No, I don't think he was gonna do that. Also, get the piano episode made out of that content. I was ready to use a real piano to make the songs, you know, the song with the piano and then the song that playing in video. So yeah, I'm sorry. Chris is gonna lose their hand because I'm like so random. I was so sorry if that happens. I'm going to be most shocked. I be like the most excited part of the game is Chris losing hand because I'd be like out of left field, like, and that's a bit tease that because Chris's hand hasn't gotten hurt in any other chapters. So if Chris's hand, like, when it got like, it's teasing like if Chris, you know, is gonna lose his hand, wouldn't like terrify the teeth like in chapter 4 or chapter 3? Like, there no teases to that. I don't think he would tease it in chapter 5 because it'd be too late to tease this, you know, him, Chris losing their hand. So yeah, I don't believe that. So yeah, I give Siri like the death part. I give like a 5 out of 10, but for the losing hand part, I give like a 0 and like a negative 0 out of 10 because that's so stupid. But for the food table, I stone like Chris being like, I give it like plus like a 6. Plus, I said I'm not just because I think that's what I'm saying. So I get that one like a 4 out of 10. So yeah. Anyway, that's come about this stream. Next stream again will be August 20th. We're on to some more That's with animation. Then the next stream that will be August 27th. We're back to some more That's with animation. And after that, won't be any more streams until Amanda Faces 3 comes out and I do my until I'm done to that game. After done on the streams to that game, I'll be going to doing more Dead Twin fan enemies reaction, more Dead Twin series reaction streams. So yeah. Anyways, game was also I could be looking out for that part 2 of the King Kong Zero Death video. And when that does come out, that's gonna be recording up on my Red to King Kong Zero Death video. So yeah. And as I have to say, before you do that, I think it's to subscribe to American today. I'll see you back. For streams August 20th, yes. And for videos sometime soon, for that my King of Share Dead Set video. Until then, good night and keep gaming gamers. And until next video, stay determined and deuces. I know I kind of messed up. I told you I can have a white. All right, have a good night, y'all. Bye.